Arlington officially became the National Cemetery on June 15, 1864. The original cemetery was 200 acres and has since grown to 639 acres as early as 2020. Today, most visitors to Arlington National Cemetery enter through the Welcome Center on Memorial Avenue in Arlington, Virginia. But over the years, and as the cemetery has changed in size, so did its entrances. Most of these gateways still exist today, except one. Some have recently been restored, and a new entry point is being planned. Arlington National Cemetery's easternmost boundary had, since 1864, been Arlington Ridge Road, which is now presently located about where the Eisenhower Drive is. In 1971, the cemetery expanded eastward to its present boundary, which is Route 110, formerly known as Jeff Davis Highway. The McClellan Gate marks the original entrance to Arlington National Cemetery, named after Civil War General George B. McClellan. The reddish-brown archway remains one of the cemetery's most iconic landmarks, towering 30 feet above the ground. Atop the arch facing east is the name McClellan inscribed in gold, above lines from Theodore O'Hara's poem Bivouac of the Dead, which is dated 1847. Two other historic gates occupy the eastern boundary of the cemetery: the Ord and Weitzel Gate, dating from 1820, and the Sheraton Gate, constructed in 1879. Both of these gates use iconic columns salvaged from the demolition of the War Department building. This building was located on the site that is currently occupied by the Executive Office building next to the White House. The Sheraton Gate was constructed in 1879 and initially had no name inscribed on the gate's pediment. However, the last name of Abraham Lincoln, Ulysses S. Grant, Edward Stanton, and Winfield Scott were chiseled into the front of each of the columns. After the death of Sheraton in 1888, his last name was inscribed on the pediment, and the gate became known as the Sheraton Gate. Not long after the 1971 expansion of the cemetery's eastward boundary, the Sheraton Gate was dismantled and the columns and marble pediment and iron gate put into outdoor storage. Recently, the process of restoring the gate has been undertaken. In 1979, the Ord and Weitzel Gate was disassembled and put into storage. It became weathered and was too small for modern vehicles to fit through. On Veterans Day in 2022, Arlington National Cemetery unveiled a restored Ord and Weitzel Gate after being in storage for more than 4 decades. The gate includes restored columns that were originally part of the War Department building, the same as the Sheraton Gate. These two columns are topped with decorative, elaborate sculptured urns, also salvaged from the War Department building. The urns are over 2 centuries old. The new Ord and Weitzel Gate is in approximately the same location as the original gate and is now the northern entrance to Arlington National Cemetery. The formal entrance to Arlington National Cemetery extends across the Potomac River to near the Lincoln Memorial at the eastern edge of Memorial Bridge. Memorial Avenue, Memorial Bridge, and the entrance to the cemetery were designed as a single project and dedicated on January 16, 1932, by President Herbert Hoover. Memorial Avenue features several monuments and memorials. These include the CB Memorial, the Armed Forces Memorial, the United Spanish War Veterans Memorial known as the Hiker, the Rear Admiral Richard Byrd Monument, the 101st Airborne Division Memorial, and the 4th Ivy Infantry Division Memorial. Memorial Avenue ends at the Women's in Military Service for American Memorial, which was dedicated in 1997 to honor all women who have served in the United States Armed Forces. From the Women's in Military Service for America Memorial, roads into the cemetery lead both north and south through a pair of ornate wrought iron gates. On the north side, the Sly Gate commemorates Admiral William Scott Sly, a hero of the Spanish-American War that took place in 1898. On the south side, the Roosevelt Gate honors President Theodore Roosevelt. At the center of each gate, a gold wreath with the seals of U.S. military services. The U.S. Navy and Coast Guard seals are on the Sly Gate wreath, while the U.S. Army and the Marine Corps seals are on the Roosevelt Gate wreaths. When the gates were installed, the U.S. Air Force was still a branch of the Army, so its seal does not appear. On the western side of the cemetery is the Old Chapel Gate. It is the portal to Fort Myer. It is through this gate that the solemn ceremony of the caissons processions enters Arlington National Cemetery. Members of the 3rd U.S. Infantry, or the Old Guard, are stationed at Fort Myers and conduct the military funerals using the caissons. Located next to the gate is the historic chapel of Fort Myer. Since access to Fort Myer is restricted, visitors to the cemetery cannot pass through this gate. The South Gate, often referred to as the Service Gate, is the only other gate into the cemetery that is in regular use, but is not a common visitor entrance. The Arlington National Southern Expansion is a 70-acre expansion site which will increase the capacity for future interments at the cemetery. As part of this project, a new south entrance is planned. The planned expansion will incorporate the Air Force Memorial and possibly the restored Sheraton Gate. The story of the gates of Arlington National Cemetery is just one of many that represent the American people for past, present, and future generations by laying to rest those few who have served our nation with dignity and honor. A visit to the cemetery immerses you in the cemetery's living history.